Hey guys! Today I'm going to do my City of Bones movie review because I saw it a couple of days ago and it was I'll get into why it was later on. Okay, this is going to be full of spoilers if you hadn't already guessed, because Mortal Instruments series is basically one of my favourite series ever. So I'm going to go into a lot of detail with this review because I can! I don't know why I did that. Okay, let's get started. Things I liked about the movie were the acting, settings, the props, the special features and the costumes. I thought everything cinematography wise, like mise en scène wise, which is basically everything you see on the screen. I thought that was brilliant. All of that was, I couldn't really fault that. The things I didn't necessarily like about City of Bones were the script, the storyline, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, and probably the ending of the movie, to be honest. The problems with the script was the way it was written. It had all the lines from the book but in the wrong place. Like, for example, you know when Clary faints, right, when they bring her first to the Institute with Simon and Jace, and she goes, "So, is this the part where you start ripping off your clothes to bind my wounds?" That's my really, really crappy American accent, by the way. And then Jamie goes, Jamie, oh god, this is awful, I keep doing that. Then Jace goes, "If you wanted me to take my clothes off, you should have just asked. And then Simon's there like, what? Because, you know, he's Clary. And I thought that was a brilliant line from the book. That was one of my favourite lines, but they put it in the wrong place. I don't know what place it was in the book, because I haven't read the book for a while, but it was in the wrong place. It just didn't, it was so awkward and so unnecessary and just, why did they think that was a good idea? I don't understand. Oh my god, I don't understand. Also, something else that was stupid was the bit with Magnus. Like Magnus is like second favourite Mortal Instruments character and they totally screwed him up. Party, it was laid out to be really nice, the setting was beautiful, his costume was gorgeous, Godfrey Gao is like wonderful, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He was wonderful as an actor, he was a wonderful Magnus, but he just didn't, it wasn't written right. Magnus wasn't written right. He didn't seem like Magnus, he just seemed like a one-dimensional crappy character. I know you don't really get much Magnus in City of Bones, but it was just wrong. It wasn't Magnus. I'm sorry, it just wasn't Magnus. Let's just never talk about that again, okay. Another thing I didn't like was Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. I mean, he looked like a brilliant Valentine, even though Valentine's got like this white blonde hair and he's like 6 foot tall and he's all broad and crap. Yeah, but even though he wasn't how I imagined him in the book, I thought he would be brilliant, because in the Tudors he is brilliant Henry VIII. But he just wasn't. It just wasn't him. It wasn't Valentine. He was a one-dimensional character as well. There was no, there was nothing. There was no character development with Valentine in the movie. He was just a one-dimensional evil guy. I understand why they did that. It was to make people who hadn't read the book and watching the movie, it was make them hate Valentine, because you can't delve into that dimensional character in a movie, because you just can't. But still, Valentine wasn't what I wanted him to be. Another thing, the last major thing that bugged me was the storyline. The storyline was ridiculous. It was nothing like the book. I mean, the first part was brilliant, where Clary's in her house and she's all like, "Oh Mom, I've got to go meet Simon," and then Jocelyn/Lena, I always do this, is like, "Promise me that you will come home. You will come home as soon as you can." And she's all like, "Oh yes, Mom, totally." My American accent makes me laugh. That was good. It was good up until the Shadowhunters. Like, you know the bit with in Luke's house where they like watch him behind a screen and he's getting punched by Blackwell and Pangborn. They had that in the movie, it just wasn't the same. It wasn't good enough. I didn't like it, much as I should have. And Aidan Turner was a brilliant Luke. It was just the way his character was written. It's like the way Alec was written and the way Valentine was written, the way Magnus was written and the way Luke was written. They weren't right. They just weren't right. No, not right at all. And also the end of City of Bones. Like, In the book, this amazing thing happens at Renwick's Ruin. Is it Renwick's Ruin or Renwick's Run? I never really got that. Too many R's to be doing this quickly. Everything happens at the Institute. Like, Hodge does some thing with a beam of light and some demons come into the Institute and Isabel's all like, no, no! And she goes to stab them all. And that was good for Isabel. What else bugged me? I think I've done enough negatives now. I'm going to go back to the positives because you should always stay positive because that's what makes life awesome. Belle and Simon, or Jemima West and Robert Sheehan, were perfect actors for their characters. They were absolutely phenomenal. And if you've watched interviews with Jemima West, you'll see that she's an absolute sweetie. But when she is Isabel, she is total badass. She is a different girl, as you would hope actresses and actors to be. And also Robert Sheehan is a bit of a... He knows he's charismatic and he uses that to his full advantage, and that is Robert Sheehan basically. Whereas Simon is like the male version of myself or fellow nerds. So that was very nice to see his contrast between his personality and his character. But the main thing that bugged me about City of Bones was the fact that there wasn't enough character development. They focused way too much on what Hollywood would want, as Hollywood, they do want fight scenes, that's all they want. I think the movie producers, they focused too much on making it not the new Twilight than actually making it a story, because there was way too much action. There was just nowhere near enough character development. I think Alec and Isabel's names were mentioned once, maybe twice, and if you'd missed that first mention, you had no idea what their names are. I was thinking to myself, pretend you haven't read the book and just watch it from a not book lover's perspective. And I just thought it wouldn't have grasped audiences like the book grasped the audiences. That saddens me, because people who've not read the book and just seen the film, they haven't experienced how brilliant the Mortal Instruments world is. It is such a fantastic, well-imagined world, and that it just upsets me, because watchers of the movie who haven't read the book can't experience that because the film just didn't delve enough into it. There was no mention of Idris. Nothing. And the Seraph Blades, they weren't called Seraph Blades, they were called like crystal swords. What the hell? Like, what? No! And the Steelies, there was nothing about Steelies. It was just, oh, look at this magical stick I ink myself up with. And the runes, the only description of the runes was where Simon went, that's a rune. They help you, they make you invisible, and they give you stamina and all that crap. And that was the only rune description, there wasn't anything else. So when Clary like ruined up her hand at the end of the movie when she was like, step away, it was totally ridiculous to someone who hadn't read the books. They were like, what the hell is she drawing on her hand? What's that thing she's got? Why is it burning? And it's just, oh god, it was just, there were so many negatives, I couldn't concentrate on the positives. But I'm going to end this review now because I think I rambled enough because I'm making myself annoyed. So I'm just going to finish on the fact that the performances from every single member of the cast, the performances from every single member of the cast were brilliant, even though a few of them weren't written correctly. Valentine. The stages were brilliant, the sets and the costumes, and I really liked that aspect of it, the cinematography bit. The bits I didn't like were the storyline and the lack of character development and the lameness of some parts. Have I already talked about the bit where Jace goes, been hunting demons for over a third of my life, not once have I seen an angel. And then at the end of the movie he goes to Clary, I was wrong, I have seen an angel. And literally everyone in the cinema just went, oh. Most notably was my friend Flo, who went to go see the film. She was there, she was bright red, and she was like she couldn't stop laughing, and she was trying to be quiet for the sake of everyone else, but it was hilarious. I couldn't. Okay, so that is my review of City of Bones. Thank you very much for watching. I think it's too early in my YouTube life for me to say comment, rate, subscribe, but if you do, that would be fantastic, and I would try and do a heart here. Love you forever. Okay, so goodbye fellow YouTuber watchers, goodbye.